welcome to the deep dive. So you've sent over some really powerful material this time.
Yeah, some very raw, honest account.
Definitely. Exploring the intense impact of, stress and trauma. We're looking at how things like intense stress, panic, um, difficult experiences, how they show up.
Physically and emotionally, right. A huge range of ways.
Exactly. So today we'll dig into these connections using these personal stories, some from YouTube, some written down.
And the aim is really to understand what these folks learned, how they coped.
Yeah. What are the core insights?
Yeah.
Our goal is to really get into what these stories reveal, especially maybe the unexpected ways stress and trauma can sort of take root, affect your whole being.
Absolutely. And the narratives are, well, they're deeply moving. People describing panic attacks, PTSD challenges, burnout. It's a lot.
It is.
And what's fascinating, I think, for this deep dive is finding those patterns,
Yeah.
the surprising links between mind and body in all this.
Okay, so let's dive right in. So the physical experiences people describe were just, wow. One YouTube transcript talks about someone actually experiencing temporary blindness during a panic attack.
Temporary blindness, gosh.
I mean, imagine that, just suddenly losing your vision. They said it started with like visual disturbances, flashing lights, like a migraine aura,
Okay.
and then boom, within moments, complete darkness. For about 5 minutes, they said.
Wow. That really shows how psychological distress can just slam into our senses, doesn't it?
Totally.
It's not just metaphorical, like can't see straight. It's a real physical disruption.
And their first thought was stroke, which is understandable.
Of course, with a symptom that severe and sudden.
Yeah.
But then the other stuff they mentioned.
Right, the racing heart, the sweating, muscle cramps, dizziness.
And that feeling of impending death. It just paints such a clear picture, doesn't it? A panic attack is a full-body event.
It really does. It underlines how our mental state can have these incredibly fast and, frankly, terrifying physical effects.
Yeah, it's not just in your head at all.
Not at all. And this temporary blindness, while maybe extreme, it connects to that bigger theme we're seeing, right? That panic can trigger these really powerful, unexpected physical things.
And building on that, if we look beyond just the immediate panic attack, another YouTube transcript gives this reflection on like 9 years living with PTSD.
3 years, wow.
Yeah, and they share this insight. They almost call it a secret.
Okay.
That PTSD isn't just mental. It deeply affects the entire body.
Right. I remember that. They
Yeah.
detailed this ongoing daily struggle. Nightmares, sleepless nights, obviously, but also these really concrete physical symptoms. Persistent headaches, stomach issues, leg pain, even eye pain and a swollen tongue.
Exactly. It's like the body itself is holding on to the trauma.
Yeah.
And the key thing to grasp here, I think, is how the body's alarm system, fight or flight, gets stuck on.
Chronically activated.
Precisely. Even when there's no actual danger right there. It's like a faulty car alarm just blaring constantly.
That's a good analogy.
And these physical issues, the headaches, the stomach problems, they aren't random. They can be direct results of being in that constant high alert state. Stress hormones, muscle tension.
Yeah.
It all adds up.
And it's not just one person saying this. That personal account from Sweden you shared, it echoes this so strongly.
It really does.
This person describes almost constant physical pain. Daily headaches, dizziness, stomach pain, pain in hands, chest, feet, back, just everywhere.
Widespread pain, yeah.
And on top of that, this relentless fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. It just sounds incredibly draining.
It underscores how PTSD and chronic stress have these very real physical consequences. They seriously interfere with daily life.
Absolutely.
It's the body signaling it's under immense sustained pressure, not just vague complaints.
Definitely. And that moving beyond the physical, the emotional and cognitive toll is just as massive, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
That Swedish account again.
Yeah.
It details this daily battle, dissociation, flashbacks, constant underlying fear, nightmares wrecking sleep, and this feeling of being emotionally numb.
It paints a picture of such an isolating existence.
Yeah, and that dissociation piece is critical.
They described it as horrible. Feelings of unreality, confusion, perception, getting distorted.
Needing to retreat.
Right, needing to be alone, often in the dark, just trying to reconnect somehow.
The intensity is stark, feeling like they were dying, fearing psychosis
Yeah.
during those severe episodes.
Dissociation is almost like the mind hitting an escape button, right? Detaching from the moment to cope with overwhelm, like a safety valve.
It sounds terrifying, and it shows how all-encompassing it is, not
Yeah.
just anxiety, but a fundamental shift in experiencing reality.
Exactly.
And then you add the impact on just functioning, the profound lack of energy, making basic things like eating or moving feel like climbing a mountain.
Yeah, that energy depletion isn't just feeling tired. It's a lack of capacity to engage.
Right.
And then there's the emotional volatility they mentioned. Irritability, paranoia, constantly feeling threatened.
Heightened sensitivity to sounds even.
Yes. It's like the nervous system is just raw, interpreting everything as a potential danger.
And it even affects memory and self-perception. The Swedish account mentioned memory loss, feeling like they don't recognize themselves anymore.
That's a profound, isn't it? Trauma can really fracture our sense of self, our connection to our own story.
Like the trauma reshapes their identity.
Yeah. The brain's way of coping can involve sort of walling off memories or creating detachment, leading to that feeling of being a different person, like parts of your life feel alien.
So what we're seeing is this really vicious cycle, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
The body responds to the ongoing stress, stays hyper alert, and that causes all these physical and emotional problems. The system gets stuck.
Precisely. Stuck in overdrive.
Mhm.
The racing heart, the breathing problems during panic. It connects to that feeling mentioned in the Swedish account of the body eventually just giving up.
Like it's overloaded.
Yeah, struggling to find balance. And even things like those persistent migraine-like headaches, direct results of that sustained stress, the body yelling that it's under too much strain.
Like constant SOS signals. And as that account said so well, stress can slowly but surely wear the body down, affecting organs, the nervous system.
It's a gradual erosion from the inside out. That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
Chronic stress isn't something the body just shrugs off indefinitely. It adds up. It has real long-term consequences if it's not addressed.
Which highlights why finding ways to cope is so crucial.
Definitely.
And amidst all this difficulty, the sources do offer glimpses of that.
Right.
People actively seeking help, finding strategies.
Yeah, which is encouraging.
The YouTube videos had some common advice,
Mm.
acknowledging the feelings are PTSD related, not something else.
That's a big first step, validation.
And practicing relaxation yoga, meditation, deep breathing, self-care things like long baths, walks.
Mm-hmm. And the advice to connect with others is huge, too. Talking to people, including professionals.
Right. Isolation makes it worse.
It really can. Building that support system, getting guidance, crucial for healing.
One of the YouTubers mentioned trying prolonged exposure therapy. Said it was tough, but somewhat helpful.
Yeah, PE therapy involves carefully revisiting traumatic memories to process them. It is demanding.
So, somewhat helpful suggests it's not always a magic bullet.
Exactly. Recovery isn't usually linear. It's often about trying different things, finding what fits you. It's a personal journey.
And the Swedish count mentioned more immediate coping things, maybe.
Right.
Like needing to be alone, listening to music when overwhelmed.
Yes, those in-the-moment strategies. Self-soothing, regulating intense emotions.
It's a reminder you need those tools too.
Absolutely. Professional help is vital, but you also need ways to navigate the day-to-day. Self-regulation is key.
And something else that came through really clearly, especially in the Swedish account, was the triggering nature of trauma.
Oh, definitely.
They talked about their past work as an integration guide. Constant danger, threats, assaults, witnessing violence. It wasn't just one thing. It was sustained.
That kind of background,
Mm-hmm.
it absolutely shapes how you experience the world later. Repeated severe trauma like that can lead to persistent hypervigilance. The nervous system becomes incredibly sensitive to threat cues.
Even when things are safe now.
Exactly. Which is why, like they described, everyday sounds, movements, they become triggers. They instantly bring back that fear, that sense of danger. The brain's threat detector is just stuck on high alert.
Like the past is always bleeding into the present. Ordinary stuff gets misinterpreted.
Precisely. The brain and body are conditioned to react as if the threat is still there. It shows the lasting imprint of trauma on the nervous system.
So all these accounts, they just powerfully illustrate how deeply intertwined mental and physical health are, don't they?
Completely. You can't separate the emotional distress from the very real physical symptoms. They're two sides of one coin.
Yeah.
And what's striking is how clear that bidirectional relationship is. Emotional distress causes physical symptoms.
And chronic physical symptoms make the emotional distress worse.
Exactly. It's a complex cycle. You need to address it holistically to really heal.
And the Swedish account also brought up PTSD, co-occurring with other things, burnout, panic disorder, even mentioning potentially stress-induced bipolar disorder.
Yes, that co-occurrence is common. Significant trauma can have these cascading effects.
It messes with your systems.
It dysregulates various biological systems, yeah. increasing vulnerability to other challenges, it really highlights the far-reaching impact.
So as we kind of wrap up thinking about these incredibly powerful personal stories, the main takeaway has to be just how profound and multifaceted the impact of intense stress and trauma really is, mind and body.
Absolutely. These aren't just theories, they're lived experiences, vividly described.
Yeah.
And they really underscore how vital it is to recognize these deep mind-body connections. You can't just treat one in isolation.
You need that comprehensive approach,
Yeah.
addressing both sides.
Essential for lasting recovery.
And thinking about these intense stories, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? What about the rest of us? Like, what are the more subtle ways chronic stress might be affecting us all, even if we don't have diagnosed trauma?
That's a really important question to sit with.
Yeah. Maybe it's worth everyone just taking a moment to consider their own well-being. Are there hidden impacts from daily stresses we're maybe ignoring?
It's a great point. Even lower level chronic stress, day in, day out, it adds up. It takes a toll.
Right.
These accounts are such a potent reminder, really, to listen to the signals our bodies and minds send us and to prioritize our overall well-being, proactively. Don't wait until it's overwhelming.
Well said. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into these really moving, important stories.
Thank you.
It's definitely a powerful reminder of human resilience, but also the critical need to understand just how far-reaching the effects of stress and trauma can be.